thinking about applying for a year abroad. I'm not sure where I can go since I'm very English in the way that I don't speak any European languages. And I think the deadline passed, so I'm just emailing the professor that coordinates it. And let's see what he says. Oh, he replied already. Okay, so I spoke to him. I know that was like weirdly fast, but he says he recommends the one in the Netherlands or the one in Sweden. The one in the Netherlands looks a little bit rural, so I think the one in Stockholm looks pretty good. I've also realized that my passport is expired. Obviously, I haven't been traveling anywhere in La Pandemia, so I need to fix that because I do need a passport in order to travel places. Luckily, the application isn't for a while now, so I have enough time to sort out this whole passport thing. Look what's here. I hope this is a well-traveled passport. Photo not too bad. I sent my application yesterday. I hope I get accepted. I think I will since my professor recommended me through the Erasmus scheme. The only thing I am kind of nervous about is that I have not managed to convince any of my friends to do this with me. So currently I'm the only person from my university going, and I've also never been very far away from home before. Even at university I was only an hour and a half away from my house where my parents lived. But I'm 21 now, so like, I'm not scared. Hey, it's June now. I actually edit this video as I go along and I've realized that I'm wearing the exact same shirt in the clip before. But sorry, I won't mention that I'm editing this video because that ruins the whole thing about this seeming authentic. Anyway, I was accepted into the Swedish university, KTH. Yay! And I did apply for student accommodation, but unfortunately they weren't able to provide me with any. Which is fine. So last week I got the email explaining that, and this made me stressed for two particular reasons. Number one, I am going in 2 months and I don't have anywhere to stay. Number two, I have not particularly grappled in any housing market. I have lived in student accommodation for my whole time at university, so I've not grappled with the London housing market, so I've definitely not grappled with the Stockholm housing market at all. And then I started to read a couple student blogs that made it quite clear it's very difficult to get housing in Sweden. In case you ever do decide to move to Stockholm or to Sweden, I'm just gonna list off a couple things that are good to know. If you're a student looking for specifically student housing, you need to sign up onto a waiting list like 1 or 2 years before. Normally, Swedish residents will sign up onto these waiting lists like the year before they go to uni. So like in their first year, they'll live in student halls and then they'll already be on the waiting list for when they're in second year. But yeah, essentially the housing market is pretty crazy in Sweden. If you want to buy a place, you can be on a waiting list for like 5 to 10 years. If you want to rent a place, you can be on a waiting list for like 1 to 2 years. And so yeah, this is all sounding quite bad, but luckily because of the very like tight housing market, it is very common to be able to sublet your apartment. Normally in the UK, if you're renting a place from the owner or the landlord, it will say in your contract like you can't sublet the place, but in Sweden it's very common to be able to sublet your apartment. So I used 2 main websites. I used Blocket and Residensportalen. That second one does have a fee in order to contact the landlords, but that is actually how I got my apartment. Not a lot of people reply on Blocket. Like literally 50 people probably message them like within an hour of posting, so you really need to be on there like refreshing every hour, and if you see an apartment you like, message the landlord right away. If you email someone and they reply to you, make sure you reply to them quickly as well. You want to exchange as much information with the landlord as possible. I always emailed a bunch of people, and if somebody emailed me back, I made sure to reply quickly because they are probably corresponding with 20 or 30 other people. And so the quicker you can exchange information, the quicker you can get the apartment. When you email them, be as specific as possible. So mention when you want to move in, when you want to move out, why you're moving to Stockholm or to Sweden, why you're looking for somewhere to live, what your source of income is, what your job is. You want to seem really friendly and trustworthy, so just pretend, okay? One thing that really surprised me is that rent is actually quite comparable / even cheap compared to London. Obviously I know London is a really expensive city, but something people warned me about Stockholm is how expensive it was. So yeah, like going out to restaurants and bars and stuff, that stuff is very expensive in Sweden, but I think the rent It's actually a lot cheaper. I don't know if the student halls are just better funded by the government, but the most expensive halls, which is like a studio that's right next to campus, is around like £700 a month, and I paid over £1,000 a month for that little box room I was living in, where I shared the kitchen with 21 freshers. So after a week of stress and panic, I finally had somewhere to live, and my visa was approved, so it was time to book my flight. I'm booking my flight. Wait, let me check there's enough money in my account. Okay, we're good? I was in this really boring meeting that was not relevant to me, but for some reason I was there. So I started making this super anal hour-by-hour itinerary of the first few days when I arrived in Stockholm. So I kind of know what I'm doing and I'm not just lost in a big city. And honestly, I didn't really think this would be that useful or helpful, but I feel so much better now that I have this. I'm not really a very type A person, so I find it weird that this has made me feel more at ease. So I guess my Virgo rising is really showing at the moment. Just kidding. I'm a Scorpio rising. But this is what it looks like. It's pretty like hour by hour by hour. And I have it for the next 2 days as well. I feel like after that I should kind of have myself together, and I start uni on Monday anyway, so if I don't, Lord help me. So at this point, it is actually my last weekend at home. It's Saturday and I'm leaving. George? My goodness, George, relax. So this weekend is actually my last weekend at home. We are, oh, there we go. There were new dogs. I've never seen those dogs before. Anyway, this is my last weekend. It's Sunday and I'm leaving on Thursday, and then on Tuesday I'm going for my PCR test, which I'm really nervous about. I haven't been anywhere for like the past 2 weeks, apart from the supermarket with my parents, but we wear masks, so. But yeah, I'm probably gonna skip the gym tomorrow because, and then on Wednesday I'll just be sitting around anxiously waiting for my COVID test result, and then at 5:30 I will wake up on Thursday and go to the airport.